The billionaire moved his queen with the confidence of a man who'd never lost anything that mattered. Across the board, the young black woman in the red dress looked helpless, confused, out of her depth. Exactly like she wanted him to think. Because Harrison Blackwell didn't know he was playing against Jasmine Carter, the only person to ever make Magnus Carlsen forfeit, the youngest Grandmaster in women's history, and the woman who was about to turn his casual racism into the most watched humiliation in internet history. In exactly 17 moves, this 70-year-old pharmaceutical tycoon would lose $50 million, his dignity, and his belief that success meant superiority. But first, he had to stop laughing at her amateur opening move, the same move that had destroyed 13 world champions and was about to destroy him. The Ivory Queen slid across the marble chessboard with a whisper that silenced the entire restaurant. Jasmine Carter, 24 years old and dressed in a scarlet dress that caught the afternoon light streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows, placed the piece with the same precision she'd once used to demolish 13 international grandmasters in a single tournament. Across from her, Harrison Blackwell, silver-haired, 73, wearing a suit that cost more than most people's cars, stared at the board with the dawning comprehension of a man who'd just realized he'd been checkmated in 17 moves by someone he'd assumed couldn't tell a pawn from a bishop. That's impossible, Harrison breathed, his weathered hands trembling slightly as they hovered over his conquered king. The Michelin-starred restaurant around them had gone quiet, the usual symphony of clinking silverware and murmured conversation replaced by the electric tension of witnessing something extraordinary. You said you'd never played competitively. You said you just knew the basic moves. Jasmine leaned back in her chair, a smile playing at the corners of her lips that would have been familiar to anyone who'd watched the 2019 World Chess Championships in Moscow, where she'd become the youngest woman ever to win gold, while simultaneously breaking the record for fastest victory in tournament history. But Harrison Blackwell, despite his fortune built on claiming to recognize talent and potential, had seen only what he'd wanted to see. A young black woman who'd accidentally wandered into his exclusive restaurant, someone he could impress with his wealth and what he assumed was his superior intellect. The entire scene had started 45 minutes earlier when Harrison, dining alone at his usual table overlooking Central Park, had noticed Jasmine sitting by herself, studying something on her phone with an intensity that intrigued him. He'd sent over a bottle of champagne, Dom Perignon naturally, with his compliments, fully expecting the usual response of flattered gratitude he received from women a third his age. Instead, she'd sent it back with a note written on a napkin. "I don't drink, but thank you." The rejection had piqued his interest in a way that acceptance never could.